I think that like they were good enough on Sunday with that game plan, and it goes even all the way back to the NFC Championship game, the way they flexed on Washington. I think everybody could kind of see this coming a little bit. Now, you beat up on a team like Washington that probably overachieved this season to get to that point. I think that they'll be back. I think that they're going to be a really good team for a long time. But I think that they were maybe a year or two premature to be in the NFC Championship game, and they got flexed on a little bit. So I don't think people really gave the Eagles that kind of credit after the NFC Championship game. Like that was kind of expected. I think by a lot of people that outcome, happened in the NFC Championship game. You're like, okay, yeah, the Commanders, nice story. They ran up against, the big boy on the block in the NFC and they got smacked around. I think that sort of led most people into a little bit of a false sense of security going into the Super Bowl. And I think I mentioned this yesterday. I think for the Chiefs and Chiefs fans, Chiefs Kingdom, I'm guilty of this too. I think I talked myself into this Chiefs team being better than what they actually were. It doesn't mean they weren't a great team. Does not mean that they weren't a great. They won 15 games in the regular season. That doesn't happen. Like they were a great team. They knew how to find a way to win. But I think I talked myself into the fact that they were better than what they actually were. There were multiple games this season that the Chiefs won that they should have lost. Let's just be really honest about it. Like they were the worst team in those games. Now, that's that winning DNA. They found a way to win, and that's ultimately all that matters. But the margin of victory, like all of that stuff goes into play. And I think I had talked myself into feeling like they were a better team than what they actually were. And it was exposed a little bit, I think, in the Super Bowl against a team like the Eagles that you look at on paper, and they're fantastic.
Yeah, look, I agree. I talked myself into the Chiefs, but it wasn't hard, right? Like I loved that they were getting healthy and they were going to be able to attack. It wasn't hard for me
either, but it was the wrong take.
Yeah. And if they played that game 10 times, I don't think the Eagles win 10 times either.
They probably win
it wasn't like
7 or 8.
It wasn't that much of a discrepancy. It just was a reminder because the Eagles lost their games in the regular season. They did the things, for themselves too. Now they didn't lose many. I think they lost one down the stretch and Jalen Hurts was out of that game. But the Chiefs are fine. Like nothing's crazy about the Chiefs. The Chiefs are in a very different place. It was really similar, and what happened in the Buccaneers lost. It was really similar into some of the Super Bowl games Tom Brady lost. You can't allow that kind of pressure with 4 rushers. Like that is, and it's funny too. Like, oh, that's the key. That's the ticket. That's how you beat Kansas City, guys. That's how you beat anybody. Right? Like that's why pass rushers get paid as much money as they do. Like that